Me on this live stream. And if you want to join me in the future on this live stream, you can follow me on LinkedIn, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. All right. What do we got here today? All right. Getting comfortable here. Welcome to Sex Afflictions and Porn Addictions. I am your host, Craig Pera, the founder of the Mindful Habit System. You can find me on the web at www.mindfulhabithelp.com. And this is a lesson in healthy sexuality and a great life. And what I want to talk about today is that this is your hero's journey. And in this video, I'm going to prove it to you. And I also propose that defining your journey from the sex or porn addiction perspective may be holding you back. And I'm going to tell you why, and why another perspective might help you get to your destination and stay in that destination quicker. All right. So let's jump right in. So, critical at the beginning of any journey. Let's agree that we need to scope out and define the project. What are we trying to accomplish? And I want to help you define the project that you're on, and in a way that inspires you, in a way that increases the chances that you are going to be successful. Because let's face it, it sucks wearing the label of porn addict or sex addict. Like, you can literally go into church and tell everyone that you've been abusing heroin. And anybody who abuses heroin knows all the shadiness that goes into getting it and using it and be celebrated. But to share something like this, it brings deep shame, and that is keeping so many people hiding. And the reason we're focusing on it, the reason why I want to focus on it today is because too many of you are anchored or locked into the identity of being a sex addict and being a porn addict. Before I go any further regarding this identity conversation, I invite you to read chapter 2 of the book Atomic Habits. Chapter 2 of the book Atomic Habits is mandatory reading. The whole book is mandatory reading, but chapter 2 speaks to how important it is to not just do the good habit, but how important it is in terms of your identity, the center, the core of who you are. That being performing that habit is more important than the performance of that habit. And so when you frame your perspective of being a sex addict, of being a porn addict, you can't help but be pulled down. A lot of people report by that legacy, by that identity. And it's and as you treat this problem, the porn addiction and sex addiction, that identity may grow. It's what you talk about, it's what you read about, it's the groups of therapy that you go to, and those are all great things. Continue to do those things, but some people say that that's too much on the break a habit part of the equation. I need more on the make a habit part of the equation. Right. So to break a habit, you have to make the right habit that meets the right need. We're talking about the identity of being anchored to being a porn addict and being a sex addict, because that makes people feel shame. So if to break a habit, you have to make the right habit that meets the right needs, and you've accomplished that, let's ask ourselves, what is the identity of a person who is meeting that needs proactively? I propose to you that that man is a hero, and this is your hero's journey. Now, you may be asking, how do I get to hero's journey from and excuse my language, I'll speak to how I felt about myself at times, a snivelly little whiny hiding bitch who has to beat off in the bathroom and hide from his wife because he's so pathetic and can't get his needs met, and feels like a worthless piece of crap. How do we go? Who hides, who lies, who sneaks? How do you go from that to hero's journey? First of all, um, the reasons why this, whatever your sexual behavior, has become your primary numbing, coping, and escaping strategy. The reason why these behaviors are causing great pain and anguish, and the reason why this behavior is a salve or a rub and ointment on pretty deep wounds. Meaning there's an input that created that output. And to ignore that is foolish, because all it requires is you to be kind and empathetic and understand, hey, there's a reason how we got here. There's an explanation that explains how I learned to meet needs reactively, subconsciously, mindlessly, and I can retrain those parts to meet those needs proactively. To do that, that's your hero's journey. That's your hero's journey. And when you define yourself as, hey, I'm a porn addict, I'm going to therapy for my porn addiction, I'm treating my porn addiction, I've got an accountability partner for your porn addiction, your accountability partner should be holding you accountable for the amazing things that you want to accomplish while you are breathing and living on this earthly plane. That's what your accountability partner is holding you accountable for. And yes, we've got a sexual health check-in. So the focus shifts and to address the issues that you need to address to be on the other side of this. Not lying, not hiding, not sneaking. Like, that's to be a hero, to lead your family's sexual health. That takes courage. To have the difficult conversations that you need to have to stand in your truth and meet your needs proactively and embrace your power of choice and feed the right wolf. That takes courage. To learn the tools and discipline to exercise self-control, like to interrupt decades of programming, to not respond, to not react, but to instead react in a way that makes your life better, in a way that makes the lives of the people around you better. Someone who walks through life owning the outcome, right? You knowing that you can't control other people, but I'm in charge. If I don't get the outcome I seek, I ask myself, and you ask yourself in this future state, what could I have done better? Right? You've learned that failure equals opportunity all the time, every time, even when the failures suck. You've woven that into the fabric of your reality. That's a hero's journey. This is your hero's journey. And so what I want you to do to address that reality, one is you may need to reframe, what you're doing. All right. And one way to do that, and it's very, very simple, you pause this right now and you take minutes to write down your mission statement. What is it that you are truly trying to accomplish? A man with mastery over himself who prioritizes his sexual health. A man who thrives on the challenge of holding himself to a higher standard. A man who feeds the right wolf. A man who leads. Write down your mission statement that reflects your hero's journey. That is assignment one. Mission statement. It can have a sexual health component to it, but I want that mission statement to reflect the deeper underlying issues and sense of purpose and pride, a mission statement that's going to inspire you. Second, in the spirit of your hero's journey, we need to give that part of you a voice. So, after you write that mission statement, you can look yourself in the mirror and recite that mission statement. You can also write and recite affirmations to make you feel better about yourself. Right? A focus on the positive, what you want to strengthen. What does feeding the right wolf actually mean? Right? And this is like improv. When you have those negative thoughts, and those negative thoughts are pounding you, you're swirling in it. Yes, and I am committed to feeding the right wolf. I love myself. I have compassion for myself. I have empathy for myself. I am not going to beat myself up when I fail because I've learned that that only makes it worse. So write those statements down. Look yourself in the mirror and say some kind, empathetic, empowering things about yourself. And stop feeding the wrong wolf and start feeding the right wolf as you continue on your hero's journey. The last bit of advice that I will give you, it is the easiest advice, and it is also the most difficult. It is the advice that everybody knows and everybody gets, and on paper it makes sense. Intellectually, it makes sense. But when they finally have that moment where they are proactive in their self-care, isn't performed out of an obligation, it is done based on an inherent love for self, right? That's 80% of the battle, 90% of the battle. Self-care and self-love brought to life. So the third part of the assignment is to do one small, ridiculous thing for yourself that you can do. One small, like, I'm going to meditate for 60 seconds a day, every day. I'm going to anchor that habit to something I already do. I go to the bathroom, and the first thing I do when I wake up, I'm going to stand there, stare at the wall, and count my breaths. There's my 60 seconds. Or I eat lunch at the same time every day. I grab my granola bar at the same time every day. I do my walk at the same time every day. Boom, 60 seconds. So in summary, that third assignment was do one small, tiny, 1 minute, maybe less act of kindness to yourself. So you're able to say, I'm doing a tiny bit better. And you'll build on that tiny. Okay? Thank you for joining me on this journey. May you embrace your power of choice and feed the right wolf inside you. Thanks for listening.